introduction. I just spent about 5 minutes sitting there on the couch wondering why the hell am I doing this? Okay. To learn alone and grow together. We gather today on Dja Dja Wurrung land, and as a Gunditjmara Kirai Worong Djab Wurrung woman, I pay my deepest respects to Jara elders, community members, and totems of these sacred lands. I am the grandchild of Eileen Austin and the great-grandchild of Doris Clark. My bloodlines run deep into and across these lands. For the last few years, I've prefaced a lot of my existence in this world on a song Uncle Archie Roach gifted us, Let Love Rule. Uncle Archie's song had a clear message: to lead and live with love. I love running. Yes, the type where you put your runners on, start the Garmin, run, stop the Garmin, check Strava, and then carry on with your day. That is, of course, all the non-runners think of their runner friend, who posts one too many of their runs on their social media accounts. Have you ever asked your runner friend what goes on in that moment of time between the starting and the stopping of the Garmin? How did your mind, body, and spirit feel? How did country feel, look, and smell? Allow me to provide you some insight. Running is to connect with country. It is to feel the surface beneath your blistered feet. Running is connection to body and to breath. It is that deep breath in through your nose and out through your mouth, a practice this fast-paced society barely gives us permission to do. Running is connection to heart. It is a moment to feel those deep heart feelings without the distraction of our devices or the ever-growing to-do list. Before the current genocide in Palestine, I would run past dead kangaroos with the thought of, quick, run faster, get away from that smell. Now when I run past and struggle to find breath through that strong smell of a decomposing body, I find myself in a place of deep reflection. Is this how Gaza smells right now? Is this the smell of the thousands of murdered Palestinians, or the mass graves children are playing around? I've shed many tears for Palestinian people on countless of my runs over the last 12 months. My mind then leads to the genocide here in this country, the massacres that happened here on this land. We know the blood of my people runs deep into these lands. My own blood ran deep into these lands on the 13th of February 2023, Wadawurrung country in the Lal Lal State Forest, when I was attacked running by a violent, white male. It was a beautiful day, and I really did feel like I was arriving at that circuit breaker I needed as a First Nations woman, soaking in every element of country. The warmth of the sun, the smell of the eucalyptus, the birds flying around, and the little wallabies that run so fast. I wish I had have set myself a reminder that day that despite this feeling of retreat from the colony, you are not safe. Sissy, you feel like you are running on top of the world. You feel like you are free. You naively find a sense of safety. In March 2024, Taraya Pitt conducted a survey on runners' safety in Australia. With over 2,000 participants, the survey showed that over 77% of runners had been harassed on their run. As a deeply reflective person, even on my darkest day, in a terrifying moment, I found myself in a place of reflection. I lay there confused for what felt like forever, and told myself these would be my final moments. This is how you left this earth. I lay there peacefully, finding acceptance in my death. I lay there and wondered if anyone would ever find me, and if this was how every missing and murdered First Nations woman felt in their final moments, or any woman that had been attacked alone. I noticed blood, not just on my hands and my face, but on the Aboriginal flag shirt that I was wearing. I noticed a blood-stained yellow sun. The flag is catching your falling blood for you, sis. This is the ancestors holding you. I made it 4 Ks back to my car that day, and after a period of recovery from a severe concussion, it was time to start and stop the garment again. I was determined to not allow anyone steal from me my love for running. This was thanks to the Indigenous Marathon Project, and for the next 6 months I trained for my first marathon with 11 incredible First Nations runners, all finding ourselves on the streets of New York City in November of that year. I wasn't too sure what I would learn about myself out there, running my first marathon on the other side of the world. We were told about this wall that we would most likely hit. The marathon being a 42.2k run, we were told that this wall would come around the 30k mark. I remember getting really emotional in the Ks following the 30k mark, wondering at what point is this thing going to get hard. I started crying, not because of the 3 hours of running so far, but because I had this realization and reflection that maybe I wasn't going to meet the new heart I was in search for out there on the marathon that day. As I ran through New York, I started imagining Aboriginal people as warriors. I thought of my aunties, my nana Eileen Austin, when my father was stolen from her. I imagined my great-grandmother and all in her generation and the generations before, experiencing the brutal force of colonisation. I started reflecting on all we've been through as Aboriginal people in this country. And it was here where I realised that the heart I was in search for wasn't the heart that I knew, that we know as Aboriginal people. Not even close. In this moment, I imagined the chains lifting from the necks of Aboriginal people and replaced with marathon medals. I love providing insight into the reflective practice of running, and I share my first marathon experience because it was here where I learnt that Aboriginal people know a hard that we actually shouldn't know. The marathon should be a new hard. I learnt alone in the bush after being attacked. But I rose and I'm fighting to say enough is enough and to take back the track. I constantly learn alone when I push my body, mind and spirit on long runs. But it is here where I learn about the power of country, the power of us and our human bodies and our minds. I learned alone when I was out there running my first marathon, not about myself, but about the community that I belong to. To reflect is to learn, and to reflect is to grow. Our reflections make us better and more whole human beings. Human beings who share their reflections with their communities. We learn and we grow together. Thank you.